Will these magical albacore come back? This footage is provided by R.J. Hudson, commercial fisherman extraordinaire. I just spoke with Captain Frank LoPreste of the Royal Polaris. Nobody knows more and has more knowledge about albacore than Frank. Frank's take on this year, he says the water's cold right now, but who knows what it's going to do in June. He says he does believe the albacore will come back to San Diego one day. But this year, he's not putting any money on it. Let's get to the albacore forecast and see how it's looking for 2023. And we thank you, Frank. Welcome to the albacore forecast on Friedman Adventures. It's that time of the year when I get to make a fool of myself, and later on this year, you get to make fun of me. Hey, it's time to do the albacore forecast. As you well know, the last 2 years we were calling for albacore in Northern Baja and Southern California, and it did not happen. I mean, there was a fish or two caught, but that doesn't count. We were looking for hundreds, maybe thousands of albacore. Last year when we made the prediction, we saw all kinds of cold water around Southern California. Remember, albacore love cold water. So cold water is what makes them tick. That's the environment they're comfortable in. That's the environment that they move in. And if they find warm water, they'll start to go seek out that cooler water. So last year when we had that cool water, we felt pretty confident that we were going to get some algae into SoCal. And shortly thereafter, like weeks thereafter, the water temperature started to warm and warm and warm. And at that point, we knew that our prediction was going to go down the drain rapidly. With that warm water, there was no chance that those albacore were going to stick around. Now, the cooler water this year suggests to us that not only is that albacore going to stick around, but it might hang out a while. So oceanography-wise, we are lined up for a big albacore season. This is the coldest water year at this point in time, right now, that we have seen since 1985. I mean, you couldn't ask for better water for albacore than what we have right now here late in April. It is absolutely perfect. And there are fish being taken on the urban bank. They've been taken out there for quite some time, 600 miles from San Diego. But Tommy Holland, Captain Tommy Holland, who's got his finger on the pulse of many of the commercial boys that are out there fishing, tells me there's fish as close as 300 miles being taken from San Diego. And from that point, and I looked at it on a chart and the water temps, right in the water that those algae are being taken in, there's a finger of that same water that's running in toward Baja, Northern Baja and SoCal, up toward San Diego, that looks like the perfect highway for albacore that want to drive in to San Diego this summer. And man, I'm telling you, it looks good. In terms of the oceanography, it couldn't be any better. Now, so what else do we need? Come on, tell me. Yes, bait. We need bait. We need anchovy. Anchovy is the preferred feed of albacore. And albacore will hang out longer if they see chovy in the local environment. And we're starting to see more and more anchovy as we go along. Anything about anchovy in the local water? Are the bait guys seeing more? Is it all sardines out at the receiver?
You know, I haven't been to the receiver yet this year. We're
finishing up maintenance.
We got a little bit more maintenance to do and our top side for Coast Guard. But once we're hoping to get things rolling in May is when we're going. But I haven't heard too much about the bait. I know the half-day guys that I talked to that around the docks, you know, they've been taking straight anchovy fishing that cod.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they've been loading up on anchovy. I mean, it's a little mixed, but it's, you know, 80-20 anchovy.
Oh, so. Wow. Talking to many skippers up and down the coast, I have heard from them that they're seeing more chovy in the bait. Still predominantly sardine, but a lot more chovy in some areas, and that cold water, man, that is an indication that the anchovies are going to become more prolific, and with that, it's game on. You got the oceanography now, and you have the anchovy. Just a little bit later in today's albacore forecast, I'm going to have a corollary that we've discovered that I think is quite interesting. Now, whether it plays out or not, I'm not sure, but you're going to love to hear this one. Just hang on for a little bit longer. So we're looking really, really good. Now, there's some anecdotal stuff that's going on also. Old-time captain who said, don't put my name on it. But he told me, man, when you see those by the wind sailors, you know, we've been seeing them all along our beaches this spring. He says, when you see those, it's not only a cold water year, it's an albacore year. It's an albacore year. And this guy Man, I wish he'd let me put his name to it. He won't, but he knows what he's talking about. So it's anecdotal, but still, hopefully more evidence that we're on the verge of something really good happening. Another thing old-time captains will tell you, Tommy Holland said it, man, all this rain, are you kidding me? This is albacore weather. All of this rain, when we have this kind of rain, we catch a lot of albacore. Well, maybe. You know, I mean, one thing is for sure, that rain will wash nutrients out to sea. And of course, that will create a subsequent algae bloom. And that's exactly what anchovies feed on, all those nutrients that get washed out. So that's really good for the ecosystem, and it's good for anchovy. And of course, we've already pointed out to you, that's what those little devils, those longfin tuna, love to chew on. So hopefully this is all starting to come together. Commercial activity in San Diego, guys getting their boats ready to go albacore fishing, started in June last year. We took a look at it here today, late April. It's already starting. There's 5 boats there that are getting ready. Do they know something that we don't know? Those guys are tuned into it. They know exactly what's going on. And we already see that early commercial activity going on in San Diego. So that also is very, very interesting. And the fact that we're catching pretty good halibut and white sea bass here early this year, that is another cold water signal, man. I mean, the halibut fishing, as you look at some of the boats in the Channel Islands at 22nd Street Landing, up and down the coast, private boaters, we've seen exceptional halibut fishing. We've seen exceptional white sea bass fishing. That's all cold water, and all the market squid that we had all winter long and even into the spring now, that is old cold water stuff. And remember, those albacore, they love that 63.5 water. Man, you give them that water temperature, they are in heaven. They will frolic and feed and do all kinds of crazy stuff in that water temperature. That is the temperature they're looking for. Anywhere from the high 50s up to 70, but they're real happy in that mid 60 degree water, and even a little bit below that. They are really, really happy. And it looks like that's exactly what we're pointed toward here this summer. So when are they going to arrive? And hold on, I got that corollary for you that I think is fascinating. I think you're going to love to hear this, but June would be great. Wouldn't be pushing any panic buttons until the middle of July. Used to be, guys didn't even go off and start jigging around until July the 4th. 4th of July came, guys would put the boat lines on, go out, see if they get a jig strike, throw some bait. Here come the fish to the corner. It's wide open, albacore, and we've got another season going on. So, man, this is going to get exciting because I think we're going to have this giant bluefin tuna around, and perhaps albacore, and with an El Nino brewing down in the equatorial region, perhaps a late surge of warm water where we could have the best of like 3 or 4 different worlds. But I'm coming back to the albacore. I'm getting carried away here with everything else. So we've got all of these facts pointing us in the right direction, which takes me to the Tulare Lake correlation, okay? Tulare Lake, okay? It's in the San Joaquin Valley in California. It is a lake that at times goes completely dry. Tulare Lake was the largest river west of the Mississippi many years ago. In fact, it was the largest freshwater lake in the United States of America. It had been inhabited for over 10,000 years, but it has been drying up from time to time. And it was completely dry for many, many years. Tulare Lake dries up after its tributary rivers are diverted for agricultural reasons. And the lake reappears when you have heavy rain and big time snowpack, just as we do this year. So, when was the last time Tulare Lake, or let's go through a few times. When were the last times Tulare Lake was dry for quite some time, and then they had heavy rainfall and the lake reappeared? 1969. I called Tom Durr. I said, what were you doing in 1969? And he said, Captain Tom Durr, killing albacore in San Diego. Great season. Excellent season. Okay. Then the lake went dry again. And then it reemerged because of heavy rain. Next time, 1983. Really good albacore fishing. It dried up in 85, and I know that because I started 976 tuna based on the albacore. I started it going, man, This is what drives the excitement in this industry. So in 85, I came out with 976 tuna, and they said bye-bye after that. But prior to that, I can remember, that's why I started 976 tuna, because of albacore fishing. 83, okay? You listening to me? So Tulare Lake reemerged in 69, great albacore fishing. 83, great albacore fishing. 97 was the next time, great albacore fishing. Okay, you hearing this corollary that's going on with all this rain? It's all rain related, really. That's why the lake is reemerging. And the next year that it reemerged was right now, 2023. This year, Lake Tulare has reemerged once again. And we have a pattern now of the reemergence of the lake 3 separate times, and really good albacore fishing following that up. Will it happen in 2023? Well, we're not sure, but it certainly seems to be pointed toward that. With everything that we pointed out to you here, this time, I am really sure that we're going to have an albacore season in San Diego. Whether you want to call it the Tulare Lake effect, or you want to call it by the wind sailors, the heavy rain, or the sea bass yellows and squid in the coldest water since 85, it's really not important. This year, those albies are headed toward either Northern Baja, down there off Ensenada, the Bonda Bank, the Inner Bank, all those zones down there, and they're going to fire right on up into the range for the San Diego-based fleet, and maybe LA, Orange County guys. It could end up on Cortez Bank or something else. If they don't show up this year, I quit. Okay? I'm done. This oceanography is way too good. Unless there's some dramatic warm-up, and it's not coming, that El Nino is ways off. It's a ways off. It is not coming. This cold water should produce algae this year. That's my case, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it. You'll be making fun of me by mid-July. I'm pretty sure of that. Take care, and don't forget, follow us, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. That means the world to us. Take care, and I hope to see you really, really soon. It promises to be a fascinating couple of months ahead. Will we be catching longfin albacore this year? We'll find out as time goes by. And as Frank said at the very beginning of this forecast, it all depends upon how much warming we get in June. If it warms up too much, all bets are off. Let's keep our fingers crossed for some cold water and some albacore mixed in with this giant bluefin. Once again, R.J. Hudson, thank you. Captain Tommy Holland, thank you so much. Bob Osborne, really appreciate all your help. Frank LoPreste, thank you so much. And to all of you, thank you for being a part of Friedman Adventures.